All right, everybody, and welcome back to a November episode of Show Choir Nation. I am your host, William, alongside my co-host, Ethan. How are we doing tonight?
Staying busy. And then when you sent the reminder, I don't know, yesterday or a few days ago, it's like, oh my goodness, we really have a show. I was like, is it really November already? Like halfway through November. I was like, this is crazy. The year flew by. I feels like we were just talking about nationals and what was to come for the off season, and we just had our homie awards over at the house, and it's kind of crazy how time sneaks up on you. But you know what? I'm ready for another show choir season. This isn't technically the show choir season yet. However, we do have results in show choirs that perform, so we need to do our due diligence. So I am very, very excited to get this started. Will, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm repping my homeroom hoodie. Oh, hold
Yeah,
on.
you are.
Let me point to it all the way. Y'all, this mirror
Wait,
camera thing is messing me up. But I
say
have
it's
my
on the other
homeroom
side.
hoodie. There we go. So if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description to the homeroom shop. If you want hoodies, t-shirts, hats, buttons, anything you need to get ready for the show choir season, just want to throw in a quick plug. Also, this hoodie is like insanely comfortable. It's been cold in the Midwest. There was snow falling
Yeah.
Monday morning. So, I also want to give a shout out. It doesn't just have our logo on it. It's a great product too.
Did you see the Northern Lights last night?
I did not last night. Unfortunately, I live on the south side of a city. So whenever I look north, it's just a bunch of light
Oh,
pollution.
dang! I,
Yeah.
I was I was too busy at Taco Tuesday. I missed it. I missed
Oh,
it.
in up Charo's Taco Tuesday.
Yeah. I was at Taco
Yeah.
Tuesday. If you ever want to
Oh,
see me, I'll be at Charo on Tuesdays.
yeah.
Like
Those of
5
you in the
p.m.
those of you in the 217 area code, Charo Taco Tuesdays, you may see homeroom
Yeah,
staffers there on a
find me there.
semi-regular basis. But we do have multiple comps to dissect in terms of results, in terms of analysis, and we are going to kick off with the Scottsbluff Old West Choir Fest. So this one, a staple of the fall season, all the way out in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, on the Panhandle. One of the rare show choir competitions to be held in the Mountain Time Zone. I believe it is Scottsbluff. Both of the Arizona competitions are in Mountain Time, and then both of the Colorado competitions are in Mountain Time. So one of, I believe, only 5 show choir competitions the entire year to be held in the Mountain Time Zone. The results of this one: Vista Ridge Rhythm taking home the grand championship along with best costumes. Vista Peak Aspire, first runner-up. Vista Peak Ascension, second runner-up. Other finalists include Kimball, Gehring, and Bridgeport. Ethan, I'm just going to ask you straight up, do you recognize any of those names?
I mean, I don't know if it was Vista Ridge or Vista Peak, but I've definitely heard of both of those. I mean, one of them is more prevalent than the other one. I'm guessing it's Vista Ridge. I've definitely have seen them in results elsewhere. Do they perform at other competitions? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head where I might
So
have
they
seen them
are
in results.
they're regular at the Colorado State Festival.
Okay,
And
that
we'll
yeah,
get to their upcoming competition schedule a little bit later.
yeah.
Definitely some news on the horizon for them as well. Rhythm, this is their second straight win at the Old West Choir Fest. And this is also their fourth win at Scottsbluff in recorded history. The festival has been going on for a long time. We don't have all the results from that, but of the results that we do have, they passed the Gateway Athenians, another Colorado school, for the most wins in Old West Choir Fest history. So a big shout out to Vista Ridge Rhythm for that win there. Vista Peak put 2 groups in the top 3. However, their women's group Aspire did outplace their mixed group Ascension. So it's not often that you see that, but I just wanted to give a call out to that as well. It's not often that you do see that. Another shout out as well I would like to give to Gehring Harmony. This is just a small school out in Western Nebraska. They don't compete except for at the Old West Choir Fest, but they have made finals at the Old West Fest in 5 straight years. They've done it every single season after COVID: 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. I believe they are the only one of the local Nebraska schools to do that. They beat Chadron Cardinal Singers for a final spot this year, which is a big deal. Chadron, usually one of the kind of the standard programs in Western Nebraska as well. Ethan, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Vista Ridge is making the voyage into mainstream show choir land this season. They will compete at the Hastings Tiger Clash on January 24th. There, they will match up with Lewis Central Corporation from Iowa, as well as some Nebraska stalwarts, Grand Island Ultimate Image, Lincoln Northwest First Class, Kearney Pops, Fairbury Crimson Elite, and others. So what do you think of that?
Great. I think that's amazing. I mean, I love seeing groups, kind of like teeter off that edge of being, hey, we'll only go to 2 comps, a year. They're the same comps we've been going to for many years. Let's dip our toe into the water, see what can happen, and just give the kids an experience that we can remember. And who knows, maybe this can last until maybe this starts a new trend for them, getting more into the competitive range of, I guess you want to call it a regular season show choir season. Instead of, going to beginning November competitions and a competition maybe later in the year or whatever. So yes, I'm very excited for them. Also, just side note, like show wise, when you threw that banner on the bottom, I was like, whoa, we are getting a little too high tech here. A little too much. Kind of scared me. You've definitely been played around on this, so a little bit.
We're still trying to make strides in season 3. I think this is the pre-season 3 episode.
Yeah.
So we're maybe researching and developing some things, TBD on if they'll appear again in the future. But yeah, that is a 6.5 hour drive for Vista Ridge to go compete at Hastings in January. So yeah, that's not just a simple drive down the interstate. They're putting their necks on the line. I believe Falcon, another Colorado school, they competed at Wahoo in 2024, I believe, and they did decently well. I believe they were about 4th or so, and I could see Vista Ridge doing something similar here as well. I don't know if they're going to be the Lewis Central or Grand Island or maybe even a Lincoln Northwest, but certainly when we look at dicing it up with some of those other choirs, I think that's a great opportunity for them there as well. The next competition that we had is just coming off this past Saturday, and it is the Ada Music Feast in Ohio. The results of this one taking the grand championship with vocals, choreography, band, and the best show concept caption. It is Grove City Touch of Class. Second place, Alliance Jet Centers. Third place, Kenton Top 20. Fourth place, Taze Valley Prominent Rendition. And fifth place, Van Buren, The Association. Ethan, let's start at the top. Grove City, what do you got?
This is amazing. This is great. I mean, when I think of Grove City, I think of a stand-up choir, one that is very traditional in the sense of like they're always competing for top spots. Sometimes in the regular seasons, just in the past, they can sometimes get lost within the regular show choir season. However, they always seem to stand out in the beginning. This is huge for them. I mean, when you start the show choir season, I believe we had this conversation earlier. Do they only do 3 songs, 4 songs? They, it might not be a full show or whatever. But if you know that you have 3 strong songs going into the show choir season that you can, stand up on, that are really good, and you come away with a convincing sweep like they did, it's a momentum builder for sure. Super cool, to win a comp already in November. I mean, I could never imagine that. Like I know there's so many show choirs that just know their show, like just know the theme. Like they haven't started doing choreo, haven't done any of that stuff. So them to go out in a tough region last year. I mean, Ohio was tough. One of the toughest. Honestly, there's a lot of competition wise in Iowa. And I think, Indiana has, of course, just fantastic choirs, but in Ohio, it felt like things were changing week by week. So Grove City, great start. I can't wait to see what they do to build on this into the future and just not get complacent to where they are right now.
Absolutely. This was their 3rd straight win at Music Feast. So they're beginning to be a bit of a dynasty. They still have a bit to go to trail the prolific winners at Ada. Piqua has 7, Findlay and Twinsburg have 6 apiece. So in a few years, maybe we're talking about that, but still a very solid 3 streak for Grove City. The other thing I love about this competition, those of you who've watched the show for a while, you know that I love my small school choirs, and every single other choir on this finals sheet either is a small school or competes in the small division. Alliance, this is their first overall podium since Sheridan in 2016. So, maybe they've been first or second in small mix, but in terms of an overall placement, it's their first overall podium since 2016. And they didn't even make finals at this very same competition last year. So to go from being outside the top 5 to being in second place, that's just an incredible, incredible turnaround year over year. I can't wait to see what the Jet Setters do for the rest of the season. Kenton, it's their 3rd straight finals appearance at Ada. Teays Valley, they were 5th last year, and they didn't make finals in 2023. They move up to 4th this year. I think Teays is a program that could really benefit just from a nice solid season, getting their feet under them, turning the page from what has been into what will be in Teays Valley Show Choir. And then also Van Buren. This is a group that competed for the first time in ages last year at this very competition. And now they have 2 finals berths to show for it. They did make 1 finals during the winter season last year, and now they have a finals appearance here at Ada as well. Ethan, out of those 4, Alliance, Kenton, Teays Valley, Van Buren, what's one that stands out to you?
Alliance for sure. I was lucky enough to see Alliance back when I performed back in my day, as you know, Will, so long ago. But I saw them perform, and that was a choir that, I was like, okay, like they have the structure, they have the bones to be a strong small mix choir. However, it just wasn't at that point yet. And there was also some other very strong small mixed choirs that I saw in Ohio. I believe Teays was one of them, but I don't think they're in small mix at that time. I mean, Teays was a choir that I watched, and I was like, holy crap! Like it was almost like a mini version of, I think, like when I think of it back now, like Grove City. Like it felt like a mini Grove City almost. It's been a while since I've seen a show from Teays Valley. However, them getting this placement makes me very happy to see, like, hey, they're getting back on their feet. They're moving up. Maybe they are a contender for the regular season for finals, consistently. That'd be really cool to see. But Alliance getting up there is just amazing. It's great.
Absolutely. And with that, we will bring on to the show our first guest of the night. We are very pleased to welcome our Siouxland contributor, Quinn Masick, to the show. He covers South Dakota, Nebraska, and Iowa. And I'm sure that if you read the blog at all, so do head over to homeroomshowchoir.com. You've seen plenty of his work. He's an absolute machine behind the keyboard. Oh, yeah. Quinn, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me on. How are we doing? We're doing good?
Doing Perfect.
Great. All right. Should we get started with some changes and just notable changes in the regions I cover?
Absolutely. We're going to head over to South Dakota first because I think that might be a good lead-in to this segment. So we don't have any notable director changes to talk about in South Dakota, but we do have a pair of choreographer changes to talk about. And the first one is going to be a very, very big one that is going to ruffle some feathers nationwide. And that is Mitchell Friendicu going from Stephen Todd as choreographer to Sam Mulligan. Quinn, I'm going to toss this one to you first. What does it mean in context for A, a program of Mitchell's caliber, and B, the connection that group had with Stephen Todd?
So one thing I didn't realize until like a few years ago is that Stephen Todd is a Mitchell Friendicu alumni. I was talking to one of the kids from Mitchell, and he said, Stephen Todd has gone on record saying that Mitchell is his favorite group to choreograph. And I was always wondering why that was. It's like, because he's an alumni. That would make sense. So switching from Stephen Todd, and who has also been choreographing Friendicu for decades at this point, like this is a big deal. Switching to Sam Mulligan is not necessarily a random choice because last season Nick McGraw left and Nick Cabrero stepped in, who comes from Lincoln Northeast in Lincoln, Nebraska. And when he was there, his choreographer was Sam Mulligan. So bringing over Sam Mulligan from his time at Lincoln Northeast, it seems like the two are going to be a pretty solid pair for Friendicu, and I'm very interested to see what direction this goes in.
For sure. Ethan, thoughts on your side of it? I know you perhaps have proximity to one of the parties involved in this change as well.
Yeah. First off, Stephen Todd's one of one. You watch, it's so funny. Last year, Will, how many Stephen Todd groups did we end up watching? And you're like, all the shows were, it felt different. Like they might.
I wound up watching 3 Stephen Todd groups sitting directly in the bleachers right behind Stephen Todd.
Yeah,
that's how many Stephen Todd shows I watched last year.
Exactly. I mean, last season we would watch. Who was it? Brandon. And then it would be
Troy.
Mitchell, Troy. And you're like, holy crap! Like they might be like some of the same movements and some of the same ideas. However, they are interpreted completely different group to group. Mm-hmm. And I like Stephen Todd. I always praise Stephen Todd for how he's able to make a choir look on stage. It's amazing. He's one of one, especially leaving his alma mater. Like there's going to be growing pains. There's no doubt going to be some growing pains. However, I am super excited for Sam to step into this role. Sam, I just got done watching a video that Nikki Mel posted. Nikki Mel is his partner for a lot of the choreographer and also a fiance. So congratulations, Sam, as always. But I watched that and I was like, holy crap. I was like, if they could get a group that can consistently sing at a high level and that has stamina, they're going to look really good on stage. And like Quinn said, it's going to be weird though. It's going to take time for people to watch Mitchell and be like, they don't have a lot of arms as normal. You know, it's not, that's what it is. It's like, it's not a lot of arms. It's not maybe as sharp. However, it flows. It's a lot of footwork. And I think Mitchell is one of those choirs that can adapt. Now it might take time. And I think Sam is up for the challenge as well as Nikki, of course, but I'm just super excited to see this. It's going to be weird watching Mitchell. Like, the first couple times I see them, I'm going to be like, yeah, that's not maybe Mitchell that I grew up watching, but I'm here for the change. I don't know the backing to it, and I don't think it really matters, but I'm super excited for Sam to step into this role.
Quinn, one more to talk about in South Dakota. We have O'Gorman going from Kevin Chase as choreographer to a familiar name at this point in the program, Sam Mulligan. So Sam Mulligan picking up a second South Dakota group. What does this mean quickly for O'Gorman?
So this is interesting because originally it was Kevin Chase who choreographed the most groups in South Dakota, that being O'Gorman, and then of course Aberdeen Central, which he's choreographed for quite some time. But now Sam Mulligan has jumped on 2 of the South Dakota programs, and he is now choreographing. Like, he's the choreographer you will see the most from South Dakota groups. So changing to Sam Mulligan from Kevin Chase is, again, something I like to say every year is it's impossible to predict how groups are going to do in the next season, because especially if there are changes in directors, choreographers, or arrangers, it's impossible to predict. So how is this going to help O'Gorman? We have to see. Short answer, I don't know. But I'm very excited to see the direction that O'Gorman's going to go in. Also, it looks like both O'Gorman and Mitchell are going to be some larger groups than last season. So again, we'll see how this impacts their shows, but I'm really excited to see both of them regardless.
For sure. Well, thank you very much for that and 1/3 of your expertise. We're going to flip over to Iowa now. And we have this very interesting situation going on in Iowa, specifically in the Des Moines Metro, where we had a bit of a director carousel going on. So usually we frame the changes in terms of schools, but this one we're going to frame in terms of the people. So we have Adam Brown going from Ankeny to Urbandale. We have John Edgston going from Urbandale to Ankeny Centennial. And we have Riley Anderson going from Ankeny Centennial to Ankeny. So the 3 of them kind of making a perfect triangle of, or 3-pointed circle, if you will, of director changes. I guess floor goes out to either one of you. What is this vibe going to be like in Des Moines next season, where everyone is being led by a familiar yet different face?
I mean, just to start off, because I know Quinn definitely has a lot more thoughts than I do on this, and I'll be really short-winded on this one. It's like, I don't even know what to think. I know when these first happened, a lot of people were like kind of like freaking out, like, I can't believe this person went here, or this person went here, or they left this school. Like this their style might not fit this choir or how it is. I feel like that there's gonna be a strong sense in Des Moines that it's like, hey, let's adapt, like let's take time, and it's like I said earlier, there's gonna be growing pains, right? I mean, there's gonna be growing pains, and to piggyback off of what Quinn said earlier, was you never know what's gonna happen when there's a director change or a choreographer change, how they're gonna do the next season. I mean, prime example is Wabanzi, when Myers left and Durbin stepped in. They still went undefeated next year. And they still had good, like maybe 3 really good years after that or so. And now that's not the case for every single one. I mean, we have people step in all the time, and there's some slippage, but with everyone kind of going around and everyone kind of knowing each other in this Des Moines scene, I don't see it much as a step backwards. I feel like the competition and the competitiveness is going to stay exactly where it is. It's just the kids are going to have to get used to it. And I mean, us as the viewers are going to have to get used to it, especially like some of these moves. But it's going to be different, and I think it's going to be a good different. It's going to be fun. I mean, we would never really see this, so it's going to be fun.
Quinn, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm very excited to see what happens. Again, it's not often you see like this kind of just weird shift in directors. What I also think is interesting is that none of these directors are like first time directors. These are all directors who have had established careers. And so I think every group is in good hands. I think the biggest change that we're going to see is with Urbandale going, because Ted Brumeyer, I believe I'm saying that right, and then John Edgerton are no longer there and being replaced by Adam Brown and I don't know how to say this last name, but Rachel Shorebring. I'm going to butcher it, but either way, it's a complete culture shift for Urbandale's program. Especially, I might be jumping the gun a little bit, but Stephen Todd will no longer be choreographing for Urbandale, any of Urbandale's groups either. Studio will be choreographed by Kevin Chase and Alex Schultz, and so will Vitality and Affinity, I believe. So it's going to be a complete culture shift for Urbandale, and I'm very excited to see how they do, especially since they're not going to they're going to the competitions that they would usually go to. So I'm very excited to see how Urbandale specifically does.
For sure. I'm just very excited to see all of this. You are correct. Rachel Schrobilger, who was most recently at Kenosha Tremper High School in Wisconsin. That's not a show choir school, but she was previously at Cedar Rapids Jefferson for a couple years. She will be also stepping into that Urbandale staff as well. One other director thing to talk about in Iowa, we have a bit of a ladder situation going on. So whereas the carousel was kind of a circle, we just have people going up and up and up. Also in Des Moines, fittingly, we have Miles Finn, who was honored with a Homie Award this past spring. He and his wife have moved to Croatia to teach in Croatia. So best of luck to them, and maybe they'll run along a University of Illinois basketball player while they're in Croatia, or some other college basketball player while they're there.
If you still want to see his content, he's still on TikTok.
And he is still on TikTok. Yes,
it's still great.
We'll give a big shout to his TikTok. So Nathaniel Smale, who was at Norwalk, has moved into the job at Indianola. And Brant Roskins, who was at Emmitsburg in the far northern part of Iowa, he will be moving down, or has moved down to Des Moines to take over the job at Norwalk. So this is very interesting. I'm going to give a couple of my thoughts here. I'm super excited to see how this new look Indianola is going to be. Indianola recently broke into the win column for the first few times in these past couple of years. They have the momentum. It's going to be up to the kids and the adults there to keep it going. Also with Norwalk, I mean, Brant Roskins, he led Emmitsburg to some good small school seasons, and I'm very excited for the direction Norwalk is going as well. Thoughts from either of you two?
I mean, Indianola has seriously improved as a program over the last few years. It's been really exciting to see. I was first introduced to Indianola in the 2023 season at Des Moines Christian, where they got second place. And since then, I've been following them, and I'm really, I've I'm really excited to see the changes, the improvements that happen. And it's been awesome to follow them over the last few years. Norwalk, I'm not as familiar with, but I'm sure because I'm more familiar with Emmitsburg, and given the work that Brandt has done there, I'm sure Norwalk is in really good hands, and I'm really excited to see how all of these programs do in the upcoming season.
For sure. We are going to flip over to some other Iowa changes, and I do want to focus on the choreographers here. We do have maybe not a dime a dozen changes, but certainly some big ones as well. We hinted at one earlier, and that is that Urbandale is swapping Stephen Todd for Kevin Chase. We also have a change at Davenport Central. Andy Haynes has retired. Heath Guimar is the new choreographer at Davenport Central. And then at Sioux Center, Eric Hall is no longer the choreographer, and Kevin Chase is the new choreographer at Sioux Center. So Kevin Chase in that +2 in Iowa this year. Quinn, thoughts on Urbandale, Davenport Central, and Sioux Center all having new visual looks this year?
I mean, like Kevin Chase is a very established choreographer, and who has shown himself as, yes, he gives groups a lot of the best choreography out there. And I'm very excited to see how this changes for Urbandale and Sioux Center specifically. I know Sioux Center's got a very difficult first competition at Sioux Falls Roosevelt, which has a very stacked lineup, and I'm very excited to see. I'm rooting for Sioux Center to make finals there, and I'm very excited to see what happens there. Davenport Central, I think Heath Guimar, I think I'm saying that right. I really like his style of choreography. I recently watched El Paso Gridley Modulations, their 2025 show, for the first time, and it's the kind of choreography I personally really like, and so I'm excited to see it incorporate into Davenport Central. I'm hoping to see Davenport Central at some point this season, assuming I still go to North Polk. I'm very excited to see them. In terms of that, I don't think there's many other big choreography changes in the Iowa area, but these are the most notable ones, and I think they're all really exciting.
Ethan, I feel like you might have a thought or two about Heath Guimar.
Oh, I love Heath Guimar. Quinn, I mean, I'm liking you more and more, man. Yes, that's my style of choreography too, man. I mean, the closest to it is Sam Mulligan and Dwight Jordan.
Okay.
Heath went on his own kind of tangent and made it more hip hop. He was a student of the game from Dwight from Mount Zion. So then he went to Glenwood along with his father and turned them into a national powerhouse. A choir that was one of one. No one can move like Chime Glenwood did. And then he took his talents. I think he also went to Center Grove for a little bit. He went to some other places. El Paso, he is turning them into a really, really fun choir to watch. Of course, great director there was John Schaefer. However, it always kind of felt there might have been something missing on the choreo end, and Heath brings it. This is super interesting, especially for a choir like Davenport Central, who seemingly has great years every year. However, there's a lot of people who question their competition schedule in terms of people they face, right? So still amazing choir, and Andy Haynes is a legend. Literally won our Legacy Homie Award. I forgot if that was the name of it or Legend of the Game. However,
Lifetime Achievement.
Thank you. Lifetime Achievement. However, Heath Guimar is a 360 from the moves Andy Haynes was doing. Like, complete different style. This is going to be fun to watch. There's going to be growing pains, like I said earlier. However, we kind of watched El Paso. They caught on really quick to Heath. So if Davenport Central can do the same, look out.
We do have a comment from Show Choir Zach, who says, how do you expect the West to play out this year? Show Choir Zach, stick around for like 10 more minutes and we will get to your question.
These banners are sick.
We have another guest coming on in 10 minutes.
Wait,
and
we can see our PFPs too.
That's awesome.
We're getting really slick. This is the little known research and development episode for season 3. And we have several changes in Nebraska as well, rounding out into the third state that Quinn is an expert in. It's almost almost an attack on my knowledge to have a staff member that's knowledgeable about 3 states. I almost feel threatened and challenged. I don't though, don't worry. So we have a very, very high profile director ladder going on in Nebraska. So another one of our Lifetime Achievement Homie Award winners, Doran Johnson, retired from Omaha West Side at the end of last season. Andrew Jacobson took his directorship. Andrew Jacobson came from Lincoln Southwest. And who took that Lincoln Southwest job but Leighton Ware, who came from Wahoo. And who took the Wahoo job but Annetta Von Kampen, a recent Nebraska grad. So we have a new face at Westside, Greg Wooden, still taking charge of Simply Irresistible. We have a new face at Lincoln Southwest, Samantha Costa, still in the assistant role there. And we have a new face at Wahoo as well, who was undeniably the top small school choir in Nebraska last year. I know I have a lot of thoughts about this, but I am going to toss to other people first so that my rant doesn't come off right at the start.
All right. I've got a lot. So the main thing I want to point, let's start with West Side. So my West Side ATSC, the 2025 show, that was my favorite show I got to see in person in the 2025 season. I got to see him at Millard West and I got to see him at Hastings too. And it's going to be different with Andrew Jacobson because Lincoln Southwest style of show is very different from West Side's. So I'm very interested to see how, see if West Side's show style changes at all. I do think like Andrew Jacobson has established himself as a very excellent director in the Nebraska area. I've enjoyed seeing Lincoln Southwest shows. I got to see the Chicken Little show at Norris, and I got to see the Grinch show when they came to Jefferson, and I was blown away. And so I think he's going to do great things at West Side. Leighton Ware, I'm not as knowledgeable on, but seeing Wahoo's program grow, I remember seeing their 2023 season where they unfortunately didn't make finals at all, but then seeing their first competition of the 2024 season where they got second at Hastings, I was like, whoa, that's impressive. And it's only been improving from there. So I think Leighton is going to do great things at Lincoln Southwest.
I'll just hop in there real quick, Ethan. I don't know if you're going to say something, but I am honestly very, very excited for Leighton Ware at Lincoln Southwest. She was helping out with Norwalk Middle School while she was in college. She previously directed at West Delaware, which is a small school in Iowa, then made it to Wahoo. And within 3 years, Wahoo was dominantly the class of Nebraska BCD choirs. And for those of you locals, you know that I'm talking about the NHSA enrollment classifications. Wahoo was undeniably the class of that. Maybe this year it was a little close with Standing Bear and a little close with Scott, but they were the best in that. And this is now the culmination, I think, of a lot of people are going to learn the name Leighton Ware. And Lincoln Southwest, I don't know if it's going to look exactly the same. She is a Lincoln Southwest alum under Andrew Jacobson, so there's a good chance it stays the same. However, in the event that it looks different, I don't think it will be any worse. And I think, if anything, the base is there for the kids to just continue running with it and continue going with it. And we're talking about Lincoln Southwest for a long, long time to come.
Yeah, I mean that was a great sell, Will. I'm super excited. No, I mean I was excited beforehand, but I mean now I'm super excited. I thought you brought up a lot of great points. It's hard for anyone to replace a director like Doran Johnson. However, there's only an elite few that I think that might be able to, step in and make it their own. And I do think Jacobson can be in that elite company and do what Doran Johnson or left his legacy to do. It's going to be weird though. I mean, I can't imagine Westside doing a Chicken Little show, but it's, guess what? It's Westside. It's not Lincoln Southwest. Right. So, it is what it is. It's going to be fun to watch. And yeah, I'm really excited for this Nebraska scene to kind of get the shift on. It's going to be fun.
Before we even finish with Nebraska, we've got a parallel director ladder going on Cal Cross stepped out of his role at Elkhorn South to pursue other opportunities. Maddie Pressler took that second role alongside Molly Gonring at Elkhorn South. That opened up a position at Millard South, which Edgar Estrada was the choice for. And that opened up a position at Lincoln Pius X. And Ian Mitchell went from the assistant director to the head director of the Pius X show choir programs. So we now have new faces at Elkhorn South, Millard South, and Pius. Thoughts from the field?
Oh, I mean, I'm excited because I'm excited specifically for Millard South because Edgar Estrada has done wonders in his few years at Pius X. I never got to see the New York show in person, but I was able to see their most recent show when I was at Millard North, and I was very impressed by how just that entire show. So him being at Millard South, I think is going to be incredible. I actually do think Millard South is going to do really well this season, not just because of Edgar Estrada, but I'm jumping the gun here, but Braxton Carr is joining Edgar at Millard South. Now, Braxton Carr is a Millard South alumni. And as I said earlier with Stephen Todd being Mitchell alumni, and I think that is going to be a really good pair for Millard South, and I'm rooting for them to do really good things this season.
Absolutely. Ethan, anything that catches your eye out of this?
Yeah, excited to see how Pius does. I mean, Pius is a Pius 10, not X. I remember I made that. I said that last year, and you made fun of me. No,
Brush up on your hopes, man.
Who names a town 10? I don't know.
Okay, we can talk about popes after the show.
10,
we'll have a conversation.
Basically, I'm excited to see how they do. I mean, they had a good year last year, only one win. Was it Northeast or Lincoln?
Northeast.
Lincoln Northeast, yeah. However, they've had good placements, seconds and thirds, and it's gonna be interesting to see if they can keep it up, especially with Edgar Estrada moving on to Millard South. I'm excited. I love the Millards, as everyone knows. I love the Millards. I love Millard North. I love Millard West. I mean, it seems like those programs are just continually getting better in that area, and I'm super excited to see how this change kind of correlates to that. But yes, I'm very excited for all these moves, but especially Pius.
All right. Well, Quinn, you're excited for Millard South. Ethan, you are excited for Pius. I'm excited for Elkhorn South. This is a program that I feel is just way too good for the season that they had last year. I have no clue how they didn't have more success last year, but that's okay because we do already have show themes for all of their three groups. We do have, I'm trying to find them. They were posted on Instagram at some point. Maybe they pulled them down.
I think their show themes are still in showcard.com, like the whole set list.
So Blackout is doing a show based off of the book Love You Forever. And then Shockwave is doing a set based off of the book Chicka Chicka Boom Boom.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
And Power Surge is doing a show based off of the Where's Waldo books. Mm-hmm. So we have 3 children's books in a program for shows this year. And this has got to be one of the most meta themes that I've ever seen in show choir, because not only do we have a program where all 3 group names are tied up, we have Blackout, we have Shockwave, and we have Power Surge, but we also have a program where all of the show themes are in the same line. And just the meta philosophical part of my brain is just blown to smithereens right now. And
yeah, well, I mean, I've thought about this before. I was like, what if, a group has, a male choir and a female choir, and then like they have one side of the story, another side of the story, and then they come together for the mixed choir or something crazy like that. If I was a judge, I would love it. I would be like, this is so cool.
I don't know where you find the points to mark that up on the sheet, but I just got to give a shout because and knowing that preseason too, and being able to be excited for that, shout out to Elkhorn South for just having the internal fortitude for just being like, you know what, here's our shows for this year. Go and get excited about them. And then we're going to put a great product on the stage. We're going to touch on a couple more quick Nebraska choreographer changes before we talk about the West. So the choreographer changes, we did touch on Millard South already. But we do also have one at Gretna East. They are adding Stephen Todd to the choreography team, and Papillion La Vista South, Jared Voss has left that choreography team. So couple little changes here or there. Now both Gretna and Gretna East have Stephen Todd. So the two schools continue to become one in every way. Their directors are husband and wife. They now share a choreographer. Quinn, thoughts on these?
Oh man, I'm Gretna East, man. This the whole story of Gretna East is so interesting to me because when they switched directors and then switched choreographers, I was really impressed that they were able to win their first competition of the season at Gretna, and then I was able to see their show at Norris, and I was blown away. I was like, yeah, that's an awesome show. I rewatch it once in a while. I'm like, yeah, the Thomas Edison show is really good. So adding Stephen Todd, I think it's only going to improve the quality of their show. It's interesting to me that the top 3 groups in Nebraska last season were all choreographed by Stephen Todd, Millard West, Gretna, and then West Side. Now it's the top 4 adding Gretna East. So I'm very excited to see how they do there. Again, this is a bold statement. I think Gretna East has the potential to go undefeated this season. It's going to be really difficult, but I also think it's doable. And I'm really, really excited to see Gretna East in competition.
Ethan, any closing thoughts on this?
I it just makes the Gretna East versus Gretna battles even more interesting, doesn't it? It's just another layer on top of it that makes it more fun. Yeah, I just can't imagine that relationship between those two choirs. They gotta feel like family a little bit, right? It has to be family. It's awesome, family affair for sure. Papio South getting a new director or direct choreographer, excuse me. Jared Voss heading out. I don't know many of the groups that Jared Voss does left. My mind's kind of foggy on that. However, he was a solid choreographer for a long time, and kind of be a different look with Papio South, going in a different direction because they're always competing against those other choirs like Papio and so on. So it's gonna be interesting for them.
With that, it brings our Heartland Siouxland segment to a close. So Quinn, thank you so very much for hopping on the show for a half hour with us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm very excited for this upcoming season. I'll be at competitions in South Dakota, Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, Indiana, and Tennessee. I'm very excited
for Quinn. We're going to be seeing more Quinn. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, you're going to see a lot. It's going to be so fun. I'm really excited for the season.
All right, Quinn, have a great evening and thank you so much.
Have a good rest of the night. See you guys.
See you.
And we would now like to bring into the studio, we are just going from one guest to another, Chris Mendoza. Welcome to the show tonight. How are you?
We're so back. We've never been more back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are so back. It is November. It is almost still the off season for California groups. I don't know. I hear there may or may not have been a program that dropped a 5-figure sum on lights earlier this off season. So there may be a player emerging in the California scene. But we're going to start with the big one right off the bat here. There is a change at Los Alamitos. David Mullenkamp is no longer on staff at Los Alamitos. Moana Derlin is assuming the head director role, and Matthew Davis was hired as part of the search process to fill the resulting vacancy on staff. Chris, as the resident Western expert, what does this mean?
Well, first of all, I want to emphasize again that Matt Davis, the new hire, is not going to be directing sound effects, the choir that you guys all know and love particularly. Moana Derlin, their assistant director in previous years, is moving up to direct sound effects. Matt Davis will be filling in the roles of teaching a lot of their prep groups, splitting some time with soundtracks, so on and so forth. They're splitting up those duties like similarly to how they were doing it before Mullenkamp left. So overall, what this means is I would not expect any sort of significant change in quality because one, Moana Derlin is fantastic and knows that system well and has all the support in the world. And number two, expect their prep groups to be very, very, very good. They're already some of the best prep groups in the world, and they have a ton of them. But they will still be very, very, very competitive, if not dominant, with Matt Davis at the helm of those prep groups. He, for those of you who don't know, Matt Davis was formerly the director of Glendora show choirs from, I believe, the end of COVID through last year. And he took that program from, you know, fourth and fifth place finishes to being pretty much the consensus best small mixed group there was, although they weren't small in 2024, but for most of their time they were a small group, extremely dominant, some of the best vocals bar none in the state, and I would just expect nothing but the best for Los Al. However, that's not to say that everything will remain the same. With a new director at the helm, people were wondering about maybe choreographer changes and arranger changes, and that's not happening as far as we know. But I would expect to see maybe a bit of a departure from the style of show that you see from Los Al typically, just because when you're put into a role like this, my biggest guess would be when you're following up a legacy to want to do something a little bit different. And so I would expect, I mean, I don't really know exactly what that looks like, but maybe a different kind of story, maybe some different kind of music, whatever the case may be. Moana is a very bold director and a great director at that, so I would expect for her to make some bold decisions.
Ethan, just talk a little bit about what it means to have kind of a defined end of an era, because while it's not a full changeover in personnel for Los Alamitos, having someone else be at the helm of sound effects is undeniably one of the biggest changes that show choir has undergone this offseason.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it is a whirlwind of a change. I mean, and we have witnessed this. A lot of times, I mean, this was personally for me because I was lucky enough to be with Connie Mulligan, who is a legacy director. When you perform behind a legacy director, you perform for them. You really do. Like, you want to go out and protect their legacy, so to say. You know, you want to go out and show the world that, you know, this individual knows what they're doing and they're one of the best at it. And then when Connie left, you know, the competitive nature of it was still there. However, you know, it's different when you're competing for someone who's brand new trying to break into the scene than from, you know, or football terms, Bill Belichick. You know, it's hard. You know, if you are playing or performing for someone with that kind of legacy, you know, there's some backing to it. There's more confidence. There's more, you know, there's more of that oomph. I don't know what it is, or if I'm even making sense, but I do believe that you know, that can change, and the competitive nature of it. You know, it might dwindle a little bit. I don't know the scene as much as now as I did maybe back then or when things change, but it's in this scene that is so competitive. It is not hard to say that Los Al could be in the bottom of the big three again. I mean, just because of how things are changing all the time. And Chris, you know, I mean, Burbank and John Burroughs put on amazing shows last year, along with Los Al. So, I mean, it's super hard, and they're always going back and forth between each other. And I mean, there was a while there, I believe in the 2010s or wherever it was, where Los Al was prominently that third group. You know, John Burroughs and Burbank were always at the top battling it out. And then I believe like Los Al beat them at nationals, but didn't beat another Cali choir in California or something like that. Something wild. But, you know, change is going to bring a lot of significant things. David Molenkamp, he's someone I thought of him as more of a sports coach, if that makes any sense to you guys. Like, he had the tenacity, he got you guys ready. You know, the musical sides of things, he was excellent, but, you know, he had a great supporting cast around him to do those things. It's, you know, I remember watching, when was it? When did they come to Wheaton 2 years ago? Was that 2 years ago?
It was 24, yeah.
I remember watching David, not at the sound booth. He was on the side of the stage because I was sitting off to the side. He was on the side of the stage in the curtains, in the wings, like directing tempo on the side, not to the combo, but like to himself. Like his presence is a mere just I don't know how to explain it. His presence meant a lot to that choir. Now that he's out, I mean, there's going to be some building back. However, it's in-house, so it's going to be. I don't see a lot of drop off happening. However, in a scene with 3 amazing choirs that are constantly changing, who really knows? So
that's a great point. I would like to jump off that by saying I don't see a significant drop off in quality, but the margins are very, very thin here. So the difference between being the number 1 and the number 3 best choir in California is razor thin margins, week by week kind of thing. But again, like you have to also consider the fact that there was a lot of the director turnover was kind of happening in the middle of the season for Los Al last year. So we could actually see it just a little bit of improvement from last year right off the bat from Los Al this year, just with Moana kind of having her feet on the ground a little bit more. So I would say the change is not necessarily going to I wouldn't say for sure that there would be any sort of direction of rise or fall in the ranking, so to speak, as of now, but change inevitable.
Great point.
Change also inevitable with Glendora. Kristen Hamilton, who comes in with most recently a college background at Citrus College, stepping into Glendora. Is this scary Glendora, or is this going to be a new look Glendora?
Glendora is maintaining their same head choreographer in Cecilia Riddell. So I very much expect that aesthetically, this will be a very similar group to the past few years of Glendora, just by the nature of maintaining that choreographer. We have what we call creative directors over here in California, for those of y'all who don't know. So they make sure that these shows at their home schools like maintain a certain fall into the canon of that group, so to speak, because it's Hollywood and that's what we do. Very, very interesting to me, the new hire of Kristen Hamilton. She's very accomplished. She has a double master's degree, I believe, in choral conducting and vocal performance, which is pretty significant. Now, that being said, that doesn't always lead to, we're going to have a great choir, but it's, that's all we've got to go off right now. The other interesting thing is that although she is not the director of this choir, Citrus College is, as far as I know, the only community college in California with a show choir, and one of the very, very, very few community colleges and colleges at large with a show choir as well. So she is coming in not totally blind to the show choir experience, and she'll be coming in hopefully with a little bit of expertise when it comes to pop choral vocals and all that. So you're not worrying necessarily about this director not getting it, so to speak. And also, since she is coming over from Citrus College, this is a school in Glendora. She's been very active in the Glendora community for a number of years, so she's a familiar face. And she was also doing some long-term subbing at the beginning of the year, along with some other directorial candidates. So she should have her feet under her. She's had the whole year from the start. She's familiar with show choir. And with a smaller program like this, I would say, Ethan, to your point earlier about Los Al, it is a little bit more magnified just because the margins of perhaps of like falling and rising are a little bit bigger. But when you are working with a smaller program, change can just affect you just a little bit more. So I don't know. It's really hard to say. I don't imagine a significant drop-off from Glendora. I just don't think that's going to be possible. The talent is still there. The choreographer is still there, and that choreographer will push them to be great. And this is a director that's very, very accomplished. I mean, even if she's not taking a whole lot of risks this year, I don't know her personally. But even if she's keeping it safe this year, I would still expect Glendora to be a big player.
I'm going to throw a curveball in real quick here. We do have a comment from the chat. What is your prediction about Arizona's Horizon step on stage?
That is a great question. Horizon's a little bit of a, polar bear in Arlington, Texas kind of situation, if you guys know what I'm talking
Elite
about.
meme poll.
Yeah, just because they're very isolated from the rest of the show choir community. Although there is a bit of a community in Arizona, they haven't always participated heavily in the Arizona circuit, and certainly not in the Southern California circuit. This year, if I'm not mistaken, they are going to be, or they're rumored, I'll say, to be attending Valley Vista. Um, and if I'm not mistaken, they'll be facing Diamond Bar and Glendora there. So if that's the case, I would expect Horizon to be the favorite to come out of that competition. Seeing as how they did beat Noblesville um, last year in Indiana. That's pretty significant, considering who they'll mostly be competing against is, mixed small groups, so to speak. So I would expect them in their, I believe, 2 competitions this year to do really, really well. But it remains to be seen exactly where they stand as far as national rankings go, because they just are all a little bit all over the place with a small competition schedule and all that. But I expect them to be very good.
All right. Well, great work with the curveball that I threw you there. We are going to go back and one more director change that we want to talk about in California. This one at Anaheim Kennedy High School, Janae Morales, who has been there for several years at this point, I think. At least right after COVID. I think she was at Catella before that. She is no longer with the program, and Christopher Brush is the new director. And for those of you from Indiana who are watching, you may be saying, why haven't you talked about Indiana at all this show? Well, that's because the only director change that we know of, at least, is at East Noble, where Candace Lehman is stepping into a situation where there were multiple directors at different points of the year last year. But Christopher Brush, who previously worked with Chesterton, who previously worked with Bishop Dwenger, who previously worked with Carmel, is now the director at Anaheim Kennedy. He inherits a program that had, I believe, 4 different choirs compete last year. I believe 2 mixed groups, a women's group and a men's group. That's a lot to take on. They certainly were known for a very unique brand of show choir in the West. Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
Honestly, I'm really, really excited for Kennedy. The fact of the matter is their style of show just didn't play out super heavily with the judges here in California. It was not a traditional show in the sense of it looked like a Midwest style show, but it was more traditional in its themes and in its content, and that just doesn't play quite as well in California as it does other places. So I'm really interested to see, because as far as what I'm hearing, there's going to be a little bit of a turnover of that whole creative team. So we may be expecting a complete new look from them, complete with new choreographers, new arrangers, and all that. Again, that's not confirmed. That remains to be seen for certain. But the talent with Kennedy and the numbers and all of the things that you think about when you think about all the successful programs, with parental support, with enrollment, with talented singers, with I believe a middle school program, and all of that, those are the things that, especially in California, will get you a long, long, long ways. So Christopher Brush is stepping into a situation with a chance to make a lot of big waves. This Kennedy has had their moments of greatness, although being a little bit inconsistent. They've won some competitions. They've held their own in Tier 1 occasionally. They've beaten some great mixed Tier 2 groups, but they've also lost to a few. They've just haven't quite been able to nail down that consistency, and they haven't quite been able to lock down their niche as far as their style goes. And I think they could be pretty scary this year. They really, really could. We'll see exactly who they, what competitions they end up going to and who they end up competing against. Because again, last year they were competing as an advanced mixed Tier 1 choir for almost all of the season. and that kind of puts them against competition that is just really tough to beat and really tough to compare yourself to. When in reality, like between the Diamond Bars and Glendoras of the world and the Los Al's of the world, there's, you know, hundreds of really, really great groups, you know, groups like something like Ankeny Centennial, something like Noblesville, like the kind of those middle advanced groups from the Midwest and likewise from the South. There's all of that range of competitiveness in between Diamond Bar and Glendora and, you know, Cypress and all those great mixed groups and the top big three groups. So it's just going to be real interesting to see who they compete against. I hope it would be really cool if they would compete against Horizon. Just to kind of call back to what we were talking about before, these are the two polar bears in the West. People just don't exactly know what their deal is. They're big wild cards, and I feel personally that in the grand scheme of show choir nationally, these are the two groups that are probably going into next year going to be the closest matched. And we'll see how good Diamond Bar and Glendora are this year. They could also throw their hats in that ring. But I would expect that all those groups, I expect that Kennedy and Horizon will be very, very close in skill level. And I'm excited for Kennedy. I really, really am. It's really exciting to see a group with that much great structure to get a nice director change, a nice team change. There's just so much potential. So much potential.
Awesome. Ethan, any thoughts on this?
Not really. I mean, if I had a thought, Chris already touched on it. I mean, I don't think there's anything else I could say on this.
My fault.
No, this is what you're here for. I do have a question though, and I just dropped it in the chat. Yo, chat, drop Subway recommendations. I haven't been to Subway in a while, and I got asked to give an order, so I want to try something different. So just drop them.
Go to Quiznos.
Yeah, well, we don't have a Quiznos near here.
Go somewhere else. Go anywhere else.
I mean, I'm more of a Jimmy John's guy, but shoot, if I'm getting free Subway, I'm going to take free Subway. Boys.
I mean,
I don't know what you're thinking.
I would actually go to Head West if I were you. But
no, you don't go to Head West at this hour.
What? Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Not at this hour. Maybe
just because it's only delivery, and I don't want to pay extra for delivery.
Yeah. Man, I'm a classic Subway guy. I really like Black Forest ham. Black Forest ham, flatbread, lettuce, spinach, black olives, ranch, signed, sealed, delivered.
Now this is by the way, these are my thoughts on this director change. By the way, can I get
right?
This is my speaking part. All right, we can continue. If you have recommendations, please drop them in the chat. I'm so
one
hungry.
moment.
I want to try something different.
Kennedy is the meatball sub of the California show choir scene.
Ooh.
I'm
so hungry.
All right.
Thoughts?
Man, you got a couple guys thinking about dinner right now. Goodness gracious. Man, for all 7 of you that are left, thanks so much for sticking through this.
Yeah, drop them in the chat, please.
Yeah. Chris, thank you so much for coming on to the show tonight. We really appreciate it. We definitely learned a lot. We learned a lot about Los Al. We learned a lot about Glendora, and we learned a lot about polar bears. So, Chris, thank you so much, and hopefully we will see you on the show at some point in winter.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. All right. Well, we are at an hour and 3 minutes, so it's about time to wrap the show up. I do want to give a quick shout to all the schools hosting fall festivals. We had a few in October. We've had a lot more in October out of Wisconsin, Chippewa Falls and Washburn, out of Missouri, Neosho and Joplin, out of Massachusetts. We had Oliver Ames. In West Virginia, we have Kanawha County, not one single school hosting that, but just several schools coming together throughout the county. So a lot of that going on. And Ethan, we're going to have to do another one of these before too long.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. When do you want to do the next one? Let's do it right now. Let's plan it out. When do you want to do it?
All right. I mean, do we want to do a Wednesday again? Do we want to go a Monday? What do we want to do?
Wednesday's so far doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we get more of an audience that way off rip. I mean, I don't know much about the YouTube because we haven't posted one yet. So I appreciate all 8 people in here. I mean, this is amazing, and the people who've come and gone, it's amazing. And I just means Show Choir's back. It truly means Show Choir's back. Very excited to start the season. Very excited to talk, more fall. I mean, it's not fall anymore, Will. I mean, it's not fall.
No, it's still fall. It's still pumpkin season. It is not Christmas yet. It is still pumpkin season.
Okay. You and I are on the same page here. I am on that boat of, Thanksgiving does matter, but I don't preach it. I just live by it. I don't like to get in people's faces about it. Now, like, you can put your Christmas tree up during Thanksgiving. I don't care. Like, I don't care what you have up, but like, just put some respect on Thanksgiving. There's still some football to be played. Cowboys and Lions have to lose.
Yeah.
It's
Millard South and Omaha West Side, big matchup this Friday.
Exactly. This is funny. We're treating it like it's like the Black Friday football game. We got Millard South.
Man, Millard South is actually, this is a ridiculous tangent, but Millard South is actually causing a lot of problems because of how good they are in Nebraska this year. So,
And then, like I said earlier, like all the other Millards, they're so good.
Yeah.
So good. It's Millard West has always been a horse. And then Millard North had an exceptional year last year. Like just so much growth. And if Millard South could just, join the party and just wreck it.
I was talking about their football team causing problems.
Oh, okay. Oh, shout out. Before we got on the show, I saw shout out to Walking Northeast or Northwest. My bad. Walking North. Sorry, still an off-season brand. Shout out to Walking Northwest. We just got Illinois just got a basketball commit from there. So shout out. I think his last name's London. So shout out. Can't wait to see you contribute. And EOS always. EOS forever. Long live
EOS and Aurora. There we go. How did Wednesday, December 3rd sound for another show?
Let's plan on it. Let's plan on it now. And if we need to change it, we can change it. I'm a big put it on the calendar guy. Put it on the calendar.
We had so much in the show notes that we did not get to cover. I mean, we had the South that we didn't even get to tonight. We had Texas that we didn't get to tonight. We had Illinois, Minnesota, Missouri, Ohio, and Wisconsin that we didn't get to tonight. So we absolutely have enough for another round of this. We'll throw some other stuff in as well. Yeah. We'll keep tweaking with it as we work to bring you the best product that we can. If you stuck around, thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. I'm legally obligated to say that since this is a YouTube video. If you're listening to it on Spotify, give it a show rating. If you're listening to it on Apple Podcasts, do the same. If you're listening to it somewhere else, I don't even know where else we are, if we are anywhere else, but make sure to do whatever you can there. And we will see you in a couple weeks' time. It is that time of year. It is the lead up to Show Choir season, and we are so very happy to be with you again. Ethan, have a great time at Subway tonight. Yeah, I hope your order is good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get any recs besides yours. Shout out, hey Jacob, do you have a quick rec? Put it on the bottom. In the chat. Put it in the chat. I know you got a rec. I know you got a rec. I want to try something different. I want to try someone else's thoughts. I have had Black Forest ham before. It was pretty good. I mean, I have nothing wrong with Black Forest ham. Check out all of our stuff on the blog. We're always putting new stuff up. It's kind of crazy. We're getting back into that flow of putting out content all the time. Will's been working his butt off, along with Nathan, putting new content out. They've been doing a great job. And of course, all of our contributors, whether it be on the graphics side, whether it be digging in for interviews, it's kind of crazy how far we are like across the country now where we were from last year. I mean, last year we thought, wow, like we have this many people on staff now. This is insane. And then we just got bigger. So a lot of great things are coming from this. Glad we're able to share our thoughts with the show choir world and spread information. And because we are basically showchoir.com forums now. Because
more or less
the new generation doesn't understand, I guess. But yes.
Kids these days.
Yeah. But thank you guys for watching. And yeah, I'm super excited for this lead up. It's going to be fun.
All right. We will see you soon. Until we see you again, have a great time in Show Choir land. See ya.